Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Our next Flash Talk panel is starting. Apologies for the delay in the start. We've been experiencing some technical issues, and if you think that they are resolved, they are not. But we are Czechs, so we improvise. And if you have wonderful friends in Brazil, you improvise internationally, even transcontinentally. And that's what we are going to do now. So I'm biding my time a little bit, waiting for people to get seated. This is a vocal commentary for our first speaker, also so that Rosane knows what's going on. Okay, I think we'll start. So my name is Pavel Drábek, and I will be moderating this Flash Talk session. We have 7 speakers, so we'll have to be on time. That's why we are starting 15 minutes late. And we'll start with a presentation, which will be 10 minutes, but it will be very experimental, because experiment is the heartbeat of scenography, isn't it, Rachel? So part of the experiment is, you can close your eyes now, because we haven't got a connection to Brazil. We do have a phone connection, so we'll use a multiplicity of technology, and I'll be holding the telephone to the microphone so that you can speak. And so our first speaker, Rosane Muniz, who needs little introduction, because she is the great friend and supporter of PQ from Brazil. And she will be talking on Beyond Representation, Curatorial Risk Across National Frameworks. And I now hand over the word pass on the word to Rosane, which means I will use the mobile phone and move it to the microphone. Rosane, you can speak.
Hi, Pavel. Are you listening to me?
Not only me, but also the entire auditorium.
Great. So good afternoon for everybody. Thank you for letting me presenting, even online. And you know, we are artists, and we have intuition. So maybe you will see that my presentation was very intuitive. Although I didn't know what would happen. So I have one slide that maybe you are seeing now. And the idea is that before we speak about representation, we need to look at what is disappearing. What you see here is a world where borders are still present, but almost gone. A world where the idea of the nation is still there, but no longer stable. And maybe this is where we need to start. To create a country or region exhibition at an event like the Praga Quadrienal is not merely an exercise in creativity, innovation, or aesthetic distinction. It is fundamentally a political and ethical act. An act shaped by national frameworks, institutional expectations, and geopolitical positioning. Very often, these representations are not only about what artists want to show, but also sometimes about what the country's institutions or governments invite to show. And this difference matters. Theater and performance are living relational practice, we know. They emerge through encounter, friction, exchange. And when scenographic elements are displaced from the stage, they do not become neutral objects. They carry histories, ideologies, they carry absence, and they carry tensions. Sometimes they even carry contradictions that were not visible before. Going to the Praga Quadrienal means meeting peers, sharing practices, reflecting on creative practices, but it's also something else. It is an overwhelming accumulation of images, ideas, and experiences Lots of people move quickly through corridors, trying to see everything, just to feel that we have seen it all. But what does it mean to actually experience something? In a time of exhaustion, of constant production, of the need to respond, to show, to be visible, are we still able to slow down enough to be affected? And maybe this is where the problem begins. Because curating a national exhibition is not about showing what a country is. It's about constructing what a country is allowed to show. In many cases, as we said, these exhibitions are shaped by cultural policies, and they are political constructions. So does exhibiting scenography today could be reduced if only displaying fragments of performance? Or is it enough to create immersive environments that stimulate isolated sense if they do not provoke, though? Seeing, hearing, and touching are not enough. We need to ask under what conditions do these materials circulate, and how are they transformed when they enter an international exhibition? So the question for me is no longer what do we show, but what do we activate? In my experience as a jury member at the Praga Quadrienal 2023, I found myself in a deeply heterogeneous group, different backgrounds, different perspectives, different sensibilities, and different ways of seeing. And yet, what brought us together was not agreement, it was curiosity. Curiosity to understand what on earth the PQ curator was thinking when she chose us to be together and to experience PQ side by side. And frankly, to find out who would steal all the best post-its. Because we spent days moving through the exhibitions, from morning until night. Walking, stopping, discussing, returning, writing again, and mapping, questioning. Post-its on the walls, maps of thoughts, ideas crossing each other. It was an intense process, exhausting, yes, but also deeply transformative. At some point, the responsibility of giving awards became something else, because we were not identifying the best. We were recognizing what moved us, what affected us as artists, what created resonance even after we left the space. So the golden trigger of 2023 is not an image. It is not a person walking through a ghost town, through ruins. It's not a form. It's a condition. It's courage. It's process. It's belonging. It's making a derelict urban landscape becomes both author and dramaturgy. So it's risk, it's dissatisfaction, and it's political. So we often follow convenience more than courage, and perhaps courage is the missing gap for the future. If we are to think forward, we should not ask only what we can show, but what is still absent, what is still not visible, who is still not present, what is still not allowed to emerge. And maybe our role as curators is to create a space for what is not yet there. We are living in a moment of political tension, the rise of conservative forces, the reinforcement of national narratives, and at the same time, a globalized circulation of images and narratives. And this creates a paradox. We continue to present countries as if they were coherent, but they are not anymore. They are full of contradictions and fragmentations and disputes. It's still even not understanding what to do. Sometimes scenography or oceanography. It's still nowadays. So perhaps curatorial risk today lies exactly there, in exposing incompleteness. not in creating remarkable real countries representation, but in exposing their fractures, the missing points. So seeing everything is not the same as perceiving. To perceive requires time and attention, a different kind of presence. So we do not go to the Quadrienal only to represent our countries. We go to encounter something, to be touched, affected, and transformed, and to wish to feel something about the world we live in. That's maybe why PQ is always growing on and becoming a festival, opening so many sessions for individual and collective participations out of the main official countries' exhibitions. Do we wish to continue keeping national representations as we have been doing for the last 60 years? What we are missing? And then I ask you, and how can we include the absence and bring future voices to the silence? Even though I'm not physically there with you, I would like to invite you to experience something together. So please, I want you to open your eyes if you have it clearly closed, and be in silence, but listening to some sound, the first sound that comes to your mind. Now let your body move slightly with the rhythm with the sound that you are listening. And my invitation is to make you remember that only humans can dance. And perhaps it's listening to our inner sounds that we become capable of perceiving absence and silence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rosane. What a wonderful irony. It's not about what we see, but what we do, what we activate. Thank you very much for the activation. And thank you very much, Renato, for the transcontinental connection.